All right, let's talk about something every creative person has gone through. You know that feeling, right? You've got this perfect visual, this whole aesthetic blooming in your mind, but you just can't, for the life of you, find the actual words to describe it.
Does that sound familiar? It's honestly so frustrating. You're just scrolling and scrolling, trying to pinpoint that one specific look you're imagining for a project and coming up with nothing.
The design site Kittle really hits the nail on the head here. It literally feels like you're in a fight with your search engine, just trying to make it see what you see. Well, you can think of this explainer as your own personal cheat sheet. We're going to arm you with the keywords you've been looking for. So here's our game plan. We're going to look at the classical and ornate, the modern and functional, dip into some retro and nostalgia, get a little expressive and eclectic, and then, most importantly, talk about how you can find your own style in all of this. Let's dive in.
First up, let's get into the classical and ornate. We're talking about styles that are steeped in history. They're all about richness, incredible intricate detail, and, a serious dose of drama.
So, neoclassical design. This is all about looking back to ancient Greece and Rome. It's kind of like a reaction against too much extravagance, instead searching for order and harmony. You see this everywhere in luxury brands or big official buildings. They're using this style to give off this feeling of being grand, timeless, and totally in control. And then, for something way more dramatic, you've got Baroque. This style is pure theater. It's all about creating a sense of motion, using these really intense contrasts of light and shadow, and just loading on the lavish details. It's way less about quiet harmony and all about grabbing you with pure emotion and impact. So you can see the difference, right? It really comes down to the vibe you're going for. Do you want that calm, controlled, almost mathematical grandeur of neoclassical? Or are you aiming for the dramatic, emotional, over-the-top energy of Baroque? Okay, let's do a complete 180. We're jumping into the world of modern and functional design, where the entire philosophy just flips on its head. Forget all that ornamentation. Here, it's all about clarity and purpose. You've probably heard this quote before, and honestly, it sums up everything. Form follows function. This was the mantra of the Bauhaus school, and it became the bedrock idea for so much of modern design. Basically, the way something looks should be dictated by what it does. Simple as that. The Bauhaus style really came from this desire to rebuild society after World War I, and it does that by stripping design down to its absolute essentials. We're talking bold geometric shapes, primary colors, and super clean typography. And you see its influence literally everywhere today, from logos and websites to the very phone you're probably holding. And then there's brutalism. This style takes all that polished, clean modernism and just chucks it out the window. It's inspired by raw concrete architecture, so it's intentionally rough around the edges, challenging our whole idea of what's beautiful. You could say it's modernism with the gloves off. If Bauhaus is about elegant function, brutalism is about raw, unfiltered, honest function. All right, our third stop is the land of retro and nostalgia. Now, these styles are all about looking backward. They consciously borrow the feel of specific past eras to create something that feels both familiar and totally new. Okay, let's clear this up because these two get mixed up all the time. On one side, you have Art Deco. Think sleek, geometric, symmetrical, the total glamour of the Roaring '20s. But on the other side, there's Art Nouveau, which came before it. That one's all about flowy, organic, almost vine-like lines inspired by nature. One feels machined and glamorous, the other feels wild and handcrafted. And what's cool is you can see how this nostalgia thing works in cycles. We pull from the 20s for that great Gatsby Art Deco vibe, the 50s for the clean lines and optimism of mid-century modern, the 80s for that glowing neon synthwave feel, and yeah, even the 2000s for that futuristic, techie Y2K look. It's like every decade is a creative palette just waiting to be rediscovered. Okay, so we've seen structure and rules. Now let's dive into our final territory, the expressive and eclectic. This is where things get really fun. It's where design is all about personality, a sense of humor, and just a joyful desire to break all the rules. And really, that's the big question that drives these styles.
What happens when your goal isn't that perfect classical harmony or that clean modern function? What if the whole point is just to be playful or a little weird or just different? Which brings us to kitsch. And this definition is just perfect. It's the art of turning tackiness into a statement. It's ironic, it's playful, it's a little bit nostalgic. Kitsch knows the rules of good taste, and it breaks them on purpose, usually with a wink and a nod to pop culture, just to make you smile. Surrealism breaks the rules in a totally different way. It kind of grew out of the chaos of World War I, and it basically rejected the kind of logic that could lead to something so awful. So this style taps into our subconscious, mashing up dreamlike images with everyday stuff. It's breaking the rules of reality itself to make you stop and think. And finally, we have bohemian, or boho. This style breaks the rules of formal, planned-out design. It's totally free-spirited. It's meant to feel like you've been traveling the world, collecting interesting things. It's all about blending different global textures and earthy colors. As they say, it feels collected, not decorated. So, after that whirlwind tour through design history, we're at the most important part. How do you actually use all this? How do you take this new vocabulary and finally get what's in your head out into the world? Well, it's actually pretty simple, just 3 steps. First, start with one of the core keywords we've talked about, say Bauhaus or kitsch. Step 2, add a little modifier to get more specific, like poster art or logo design. And step 3, take that whole phrase and pop it into a visual search engine like Pinterest. That's where you can really start to explore and see what sparks. So there you have it. We've given you a map and a whole new set of keywords to navigate the huge, amazing world of design. The only question left is, which of these styles are you going to explore first?